At 2:08 a.m., room 614 was locked from the inside. The security seal was unbroken. The chain was latched. The deadbolt was turned. The only window was shut tight. And yet, at 2:12 a.m., a man vanished from inside that room. Not later. Not sometime overnight. 4 minutes. That is all it took. The hotel's keycard system recorded no entry. The hallway camera showed no one leaving. The fire stair door stayed closed. The room was a box, a sealed container, a locked room. When staff opened the door at sunrise, the bed was untouched. The lights were on. The TV played static, and on the desk sat a cup of coffee, still warm, as if the man had just stood up and stepped into nothing. The building was called the Lawn Hotel. It stood between newer towers like an old tooth. 16 floors, faded carpets, quiet hallways, a lobby that always smelled faintly of citrus cleaner. Room 614 was not special. Same beige walls, same framed art, same heavy curtains. But after that night, the room became a question nobody could answer. This story is fully fictional, but it follows the rules of a real investigation. Timestamps, logs, physical evidence, and the terrifying gap between what should be possible and what happened anyway. The missing man was named Owen Ma, 34 years old, a technical auditor for small businesses. He traveled often. He liked routine. He hated surprises. Owen checked into the Lawn on a Tuesday evening. He arrived at 8:41 p.m. He carried one suitcase and a laptop bag. He asked for a quiet room. No street noise. No connecting door. The clerk assigned him room 614. 6th floor. End of the hall. Closest room to the emergency stairwell. Owen nodded. He signed. He took the keycard. He ate alone in the hotel cafe at 9:20 p.m. Soup, bread, one black coffee. He returned upstairs at 9:57 p.m. The hallway camera caught him walking towards 614. He did not stop. He did not speak to anyone. He entered his room at 10:01 p.m. After that, the night should have been simple. Shower, work emails, sleep, a normal man in a normal room. But normal life always looks clean from far away. Up close, there are cracks. And Owen had one crack nobody knew about. In his bag, police later found a small notebook. Inside were dates and short lines. Not full sentences. Just fragments. A repeated phrase appeared on 3 pages. Same words. Same handwriting. Do not open it. No one knew what it was. At 1:46 a.m., Owen ordered room service. 1 cup of coffee. No food. The call came from the room phone in 614. The operator confirmed his voice. Calm. Tired. At 1:58 a.m., the hallway camera recorded the room service car arriving at 614. A staff member knocked. The door opened inward only a few inches. A hand appeared. The staff member passed the coffee through the gap. The door closed again. The staff member later reported something odd. He said the room smelled like metal, like warm wires. Not smoke, not perfume, metal. At 2:08 a.m., the keycard system registered the deadbolt engaged. The Lawn used smart locks. when the deadbolt turned from inside. It logged the action. That record matters, because it meant Owen was inside, and he wanted the room sealed. Then, at 2:12 a.m., something changed. A small motion sensor inside the room, linked to the heating unit, recorded a spike. Not footsteps. A sudden, fast movement near the closet wall. One sharp event. Then nothing. At 2:13 a.m., the room phone lifted off the hook. No number was dialed. No call connected. It just went off hook for 7 seconds. Then returned to the cradle. At 2:14 a.m., the TV turned on by itself. Channel 0. Static. The hotel system recorded that too. From 2:15 a.m. until morning, there were no more signals. No motion. No bathroom light switch. No temperature change. Just silence. At 7:30 a.m., housekeeping arrived. No answer to knocks. Standard policy required a supervisor. At 7:52 a.m., the supervisor came with a MasterCard. The door did not open. The deadbolt was engaged. The chain was latched. They used the emergency tool to release the chain through the small gap. Then the deadbolt was opened with a special override only managers carried. It took 2 people. They opened the door and stepped into the room. Owen was gone. Police treated it like a crime scene. They photographed everything. They checked every possible exit. The window was locked. The frame showed no damage. The curtains were closed from the inside. The air vent was too small. The bathroom ceiling panel was sealed with dust. No signs it had been moved. The bed was neatly made. Owen's suitcase was open. Clothes were folded on one side like he had started unpacking. His laptop sat on the desk. Open. Battery still at 42%. The coffee cup was on a coaster. The coffee was warm enough to fog the lid when lifted. That meant Owen had been there recently, close to the time of discovery. Then came the most unsettling detail. The room's security seal. The lawn used tamper stickers on the inside edge of the door for some guests. It was part of a privacy and safety program. If the sticker was broken, staff could tell the door was opened fully. In 614, the sticker was not broken, not torn, not lifted. It was perfectly intact. So how did Owen leave? They reviewed the hallway footage. From 2 a.m. to 8 a.m., no one exited room 614. No one entered either. The stairwell door at the end of the hall stayed closed. The elevator cameras showed no Owen. The lobby cameras showed no Owen. They checked keycard logs. Only Owen's card accessed 614. No master entries. No staff access after room service. Police searched the entire hotel. Laundry rooms. Storage closets. Basement corridors. Roof access. Nothing. It looked like Owen had been erased from the building. As investigators worked, small details started to feel wrong. First, the closet. Inside the closet, Owen's coat hung neatly, but the coat pocket held something that did not belong. A small brass key, not a hotel key. Old, worn, no label, no tag, and it smelled like the same metallic odor the room service staff described. Second, the mirror. The bathroom mirror had a faint smear. Not like a handprint, more like a line drawn slowly by a finger. A single curve, a simple shape. It looked like the outline of a door inside the mirror. Third, the closet wall. Behind the clothes, the wallpaper had a subtle bulge. Most people would never notice, but in the harsh light of a flashlight, it stood out. A rectangle, about the size of a small cabinet door. The edges were too straight to be natural. Police pressed on it. Nothing moved. They tapped it. It sounded slightly hollow. Management insisted it was an old repair. Old buildings had patches, hidden conduit lines. Nothing more. Then a technician checked the building plans. The plans showed a service shaft behind room 614's closet wall, a narrow maintenance space that ran vertically between floors. It was not large enough for a person. That was the official claim. But the technician also noticed something else. The service shaft was supposed to have access panels, one on every third floor. According to the plans, the nearest panel should have been on the 6th floor. In the corridor, behind a framed painting. They removed the painting. There was no panel, only a wall. Fresh paint, too smooth, too new. One more clue arrived late that night. A night security guard reported hearing a sound at 2:12 a.m. He did not report it earlier because it sounded like nothing. A soft click, then a low vibration, like an elevator passing behind walls. But it came from the wrong place. Not near the elevator, near room 614. The case split into 3 main theories. The first was a human plan. Someone used a hidden passage. Someone had access to sealed spaces. Someone knew how to keep the door sticker intact. They could have removed Owen through the closet wall into a concealed service shaft. They could have resealed everything. They could have erased evidence with time and skill. But it required impossible precision. 4 minutes, no noise, no footage, no trace. The second theory was self-disappearance. Owen staged it. He locked himself in, then used a secret exit only he knew about. Maybe he found the brass key earlier. Maybe he had researched the lawn's history. Maybe "Do not open it" was a warning to himself, not to others. But that theory failed in one place. His money stayed. His passport stayed. His phone stayed. His shoes were still by the bed. People do not vanish by choice without taking their feet with them. The third theory was the one police never wrote down. Not officially, but it hung in the air. The idea that the room was not fully sealed. Not in the way people think. Maybe there was another kind of door. A door you could not see unless something aligned. Time. Pressure. A vibration. A key. Maybe the brass key did not open a lock in wood or metal. Maybe it opened a lock in the building itself. A hidden mechanism. A forgotten design. The lawn was old. Older than its records claimed. Renovations had layered new walls over old corridors. Old doors over old doors. Sometimes a building keeps secrets by burying them. And sometimes a buried thing wants to be opened. Room 614 was closed for weeks. The hotel offered refunds. They denied rumors. They replaced locks. They repainted walls. But the room did not forget. A month later, a maintenance crew finally cut into the closet wall. They expected wiring, maybe a small cavity. They found a narrow space, just as the plan suggested. A vertical shaft. Dusty, dark, and colder than the room around it. There were scratch marks on the inner surface. Not deep, not frantic. More like careful lines. Like someone tracing a path in the dark. At the bottom of the shaft, resting on a beam, was the missing brass key. Placed neatly, as if returned. No body was found. No clothing. No blood. No fingerprints except Owen's, faintly on the coffee cup. Then, exactly 1 year later, at 2:12 a.m., the hotel's system recorded a motion spike again. In room 614, the room was empty. No guest, no staff, and the TV turned on by itself. Static on channel 0, the same way it had that night. Security reviewed the footage from inside the room. A new camera had been installed after Owen vanished. The clip showed a quiet room. Still air. Closed curtains. Then, near the closet, the wallpaper bulged inward. Just slightly, like a breath being taken from the other side. A faint seam appeared. A rectangle, a hidden outline, and for one single frame, something that looked like a hand pressed outward. Not fully formed, not clear, just a shape. And then it was gone. If a man can vanish from a locked room in 4 minutes, with the door never opening, what do you believe happened in room 614? Was it a hidden human passage? A planned escape? Or a door that should not exist at all?